Hi! I think we're live now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, monsters and maniacs. I'm back. It's been a few months, but I am glad to be narrating again. It's been absolutely wild. And I am honest with that. Last couple of months have been, wild, like I said. After the last live stream, I started working daily on that costume I showed you in the last video that I uploaded it, I think last weekend, which was just every afternoon and evening that I was available, just working day and night on it. And just about the time the contest was over, I got sick twice, so that was just coughing a whole lot, so that is not exactly nice to listen to. And then I had to find the motivation to come back. I know, not exactly the best thing to do. Oh shoot, wait, I haven't, I now see that my social media handles are still here on the booklet. You know what, I'm just gonna move things around. I didn't edit that after the... Oh, I am very sorry. You know what? This is fine. This is fine. This looks fine. Yeah. Yeah, this is fine. Oh, hi, September Dragon. Welcome to the stream. Hi, Pumpkin Queen. How are you? I am doing great. Thank you for asking. I am glad to be narrating again today. As you can probably already tell, we are going to finish up the Rainbow Factory today. And after that, hopefully get a good start with Pegasus Device, which is the second story in the series. So, yeah, I'm very excited. Hope you're all excited too. Agromondo, welcome to the stream. I'm sick as we speak, no fun. Ooh, get well soon. Get well soon. I can absolutely understand. Currently with the weather, it's very easy to get sick. I know a couple of people who even caught corona again, so that's fine. But yeah, not fun. Get well soon. Yeah. Let's get into the story, shall we? Ta-da. I hope we can see the story from here. Yee. Adam Ali, hi! Hello, human, how have you been? I have been doing good. How have you been? Yeah, you guys can say human now, huh? After I've done the face reveal. It's kind of weird to have the mask off, but I'm also kind of glad, though. Alright. Yeah, the Rainbow Factory. In the Rainbow Factory, where your fears and horrors come true, in the Rainbow Factory, where not a single soul gets through. Scootaloo! Get up! Get up now! Hurry! Scootaloo! Wake up! Wake up! Scootaloo shook her head, briefly wondering where she was and what was happening. In a flash it all came back as she jumped to her hooves. Aurora was shaking her, fright encasing her face. The workers were starting to approach the two now, tasers and shackles up to ready. Scootaloo! They're coming for us! What do we do? Scootaloo looking for an opening. All the doors were blocked, except for one. Up on the scaffolding next to the directors, the suited ponies were slowly approaching, not rushing as they delighted in the false terror. Fear was their tool. Scootaloo spun around looking for an exit. There was only one, she realized. I have a plan, she whispered to Aurora. What is that? Clear. Fly. Fall. Complete. Aurora's eyes widened after a moment, and she nodded, understanding. She repeated louder now, so the other frightened fillies could hear. Clear. Fly. Fall. Complete. Got it? 1. Scootaloo started counting. 2. Aurora squeaked as they backed into Scootaloo. The workers were mere feet away now. 3! A collective shout reverberated around the room as every filly that could actually fly took off. The suited ponies gasped and fell back, unsure of where to go. There was too much confusion. A few of the faster thinking ones took off as well, tasers at the ready, aiming at the closest Pegasus they could take. Step 1! Scootaloo screamed. Clear! With a command, the fillies started targeting the dark ponies in doves. Hooves connected with heads, and while some of the students fell lifeless on the floor, the majority of casualties were the suited ponies. Scootaloo and Aurora landed on the scaffolding, right by the door, and reached to open it. It was locked. Oh, Celestia! What do we do now? Aurora cried. We're still unclear! Scootaloo shouted, turning around and bucking the door. Aurora followed her lead, focusing the brunt of her blows on the part of the wall where the latch would be. Rainbow Dash on the other side of the scaffolding, recovering from a tonal shock of the rebellion, and noticed Scootaloo pounding on the door. Kill her! She screamed at the other important looking ponies. Kill her! She started galloping towards the fillies, forgetting her wings in the moment. Scootaloo closed her eyes, pounding harder and harder on the door. It started to creak and bend. Any second now, she thought. Rainbow Dash will get here. It's over. I'm doomed. She would have cried had she had any tears left. The door started to split from its frame, now leaning inward. It wouldn't be long until it was open. Scootaloo realized Dash still hadn't reached her, and she opened her clenched eyes, peeking up at the scaffolding. All the remaining ponies were there, pressing together, holding an enraged blue Pegasus and Cronny's back. They wouldn't last long, however. Even as Scootaloo watched, twitching and yelping thoughts were falling to the floor below. Some even landed in the great maw of the Pegasus device. The pink pony from Levitating Arcus was there, as she turned to Scootaloo and Aurora, just as the door blew open into the hall behind. Fly! the pink pony demanded with pain in her voice. She opened her mouth to speak again, but was cut short as the pair of Pegasi blew apart, with Rainbow Dash standing enraged in the opening. She was on 2 back hoofs, her front 2 rolling in the air, a small gash down her, side legs red, and the multicolored mane was torn in a patch. An unearthly howl passed her lips, and her eyes were drained of any sanity that was left. "Come on, Aurora!" Scootaloo pleaded as she spun around. "We've got to fly if we're gonna live!" I can't. This is too much. I haven't healed. Flying up there hurt too much." Aurora looked at Scootaloo with wide, open eyes. "You go, Scootaloo. Tell everyone what happens here. Let them know." She glanced back at the wall of students, almost bare now as Rainbow Dash's bloodlust tore them to pieces. Dash's blue coat was now glistering crimson, almost dripping as she ignored the need of live ponies. There would be more. Cloudsdale could take a small shortage of rainbows. In another few months, there would be more classes, more failures. But for now, all she knew was that Scootaloo had to die, violently if possible. Decades of working for Rainbow Factory had fractured her. Being a director, she was one of the only ones allowed in public, and keeping the horrible secret with her had only led to psychological problems that no amount of therapy could cure. Scootaloo was her last link of sanity, and a failure that deleted that. There was no logic in her mind anymore, no care, no capacity for any compassion, only hate. Pure, concentrated, evil hatred filled the gap her love for Scootaloo had once occupied. Rainbow Dash was no more, only this monster remained. "I hardly knew you, Aurora." Oh. I thought it was Dash. "I hardly knew you, Aurora," Scootaloo said softly to the yellow Pegasus beside her. "I'm sorry I never knew you until all of this. I'm sorry we had to meet like this. And I'm sorry we have to part like this." She sniffed. She had found more tears. "Any meeting of a friend is a welcoming meeting," Aurora reassured Scootaloo. "Now, you hear the other pony? Fly, Scootaloo, fly! Goodbye. Goodbye, Aurora." With that, Scootaloo hovered and spun around, glanced back into the yellow pony's eyes one last time, and launched down the cramped corridor. She had no idea where she was going, but any chance at freedom was one she had to take. Aurora blinked a couple of times, standing in front of the door. Rainbow Dash would have at least one obstacle on her way to Scootaloo. The blue pony tossed the last of the other students over the scaffolding, and slowly walked towards Aurora. "How cute. You think that you, a useless broken pile of manicure, could possibly stand in my way? You really make me laugh. None of you compete with just how awesome I am. Love can overcome all evils in this world." Aurora stood tall in rebellion as Rainbow Dash stopped in front of her. Aurora stayed in front of Dash, barring her entry down the corridor beyond. "Well then, bitch, let's see if love will overcome this one." And with that, Rainbow Dash grabbed one of Aurora's bandaged wings and yanked, tearing it off her completely. Aurora collapsed to her knees, grinding her teeth in horrible pain. But she didn't scream. She wouldn't give Rainbow Dash. She wouldn't give in to Rainbow Dash. Rainbow grabbed her other wing and dragged the kicking and moaning filly down the center of the scaffolding. She lifted Aurora up by the wing, laughing quietly to herself, as the look of intense agony appeared on Aurora's face. Rainbow Dash took to the air, bringing the squirming yellow and green pony with her over to the top of the device. With a squeak of evil laughter, she jerked at the other wing in her hoof. It, too, disconnected from the now consolving Pegasus, and Aurora fell, landing head first in the rows of the atoning blades. The door to the scaffolding swung with a gust of wind, just as the machine began pumping out the brightest greens and yellows it had ever produced, but there was no one around to see it. Scootaloo glanced backwards momentarily, her heart pounding, the noise of the constant thump, 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 drowning out any other sound in her head, and her ears throbbed along with it. The corridor was just like the other one that led to the theater room, crammed with dozens of obstacles jutting out at random intervals. Straight behind her, maybe 100 meters now, the bloody massacre that used to be the Rainbow Dash was cruising along the scaffolding. Both Pegasi were completely straight, hoofs forward, wings beating at an impossible count, one trying to escape, the other to capture. Scootaloo looked forward again, focusing on what lay ahead of her. That's all that matters, she thought. What's ahead of me? There's no changing what's behind me. Ignore it. Focus. For the second time in many days, a flood of instinct overtook Scootaloo, and despite the terror she felt in her body, the sorrow that surrounded her, and the evil behind her, her memories melted away, and the thought of flying encased her, every being. Down under wires and pipes she ducked, up and around various workers who, complaints and shouts were ignored, only to be repeated momentarily as the raging pony behind her collided with them. Her body doing the flying, Scootaloo's thoughts turned to escape opportunities. She wiped around the sharp corners and the possible speeds, zipped up and down countless sets of stairs, trying to shake her murderer still to no avail. She contemplated every nook and cranny she passed, and briefly considered hiding if she could get enough distance. She struck that idea down. As insane as Rainbow Dash may be, she was still too smart to overlook any possible spots Scootaloo might have hidden in. But there, ahead of her, Scootaloo thought she found a solution. A garbage vent of some kind stuck out of the wall, leading seamlessly down to the floor below. For the briefest of moments she gave thought to where it may go, whether out of the factory or into some incinerator. She couldn't tell, but it was probably worth the risk. She snuck one last glance behind her to make sure the unstable mare was far enough away. Rainbow Dash paid no attention to any hazard as she sought her prey, tearing through electrical wires and ricocheting off heated pipes, going through any obstacle rather than around it to save time. Thankfully, the collisions had slowed it down enough to give Scootaloo a chance. She slammed it to a sudden halt over an open vent, hoping for her life. "Fall," she muttered, closing her eyes and her wings, resisting the urge to start flapping immediately. She counted silently to herself as shadows rushed past her, closed her eyes, hoping for the best of where the vent led to. 1, 2, 3. She opened her eyes and her wings and looked up, hovering. Rainbow Dash was up above, looking down into the vent. Her eyes were buggy and twitching, as she pounded her hoofs at the edge of the vent. She was too large to follow, with Scootaloo having barely made it in herself. But then, the anger in her face vanished, only to be replaced by a malicious grin. She started laughing again, the cackle echoing down the vent and reverberating in Scootaloo's mind. "You moron! You never did have a good sense of direction," she teased, laughing again. Scootaloo finally looked down, getting her bearings. "Oh no," she squealed. She was in the theater room again. Only by now it was full of walkers, circling her. Their masked faces seemed to be grinning at her as Rainbow Dash shouted orders down the vent. "Don't let her die! I must do it. Subdue her! Catch her!" She whinnied in glorious victories at the workers, scolded Scootaloo with a taser, as her limp body began to fall from the air, caught her and brought her to the floor. Scootaloo blacked out momentarily, as the electricity passed through her, but she came to the lying cold cloud floor, metal shackles preventing her from moving. She struggled to get free. She could hardly shake. Her chains lifted her slightly, bringing her small body eye to eye with the Pegasus in front of her. The pony was a deep bloodlet, glistering the artificial light of the factory. Her mane had small spots of glorious colors in the rainbow, but mostly the same red color as a coat of fur. Chunks of skin were missing from the small spots, and her hair was ripped in some places, bald patches of skin in others, and only clue Scootaloo had as to who this used to be, where the rose irises focused on her. "Any final words, you miserable, worthless whore of a foal?" Scootaloo brought her chin high, still demanding even the tiniest fraction of dignity. "You have beautiful eyes," she cooed, soft, yet clearly. And that was the Rainbow Factory. Okay, before we're going to start with the Pegasus device, I'm going to check up with the chat to see who came in. Let's see. When the narrator isn't actually Cynthia the Pumpkin royalty. I'd wish, Adam, I'd wish I was a pumpkin monster. That'd be fun. I do think my friends would look really weirdly at me though. A moving vegetable. Ooh, Moschino. Hi! Hey! Good to see you! Welcome to the live stream. Spooky dooky time. Yee! It is that time. Guy was Pumpkin Queen in Dr. Creepin's New Year's special. Yeah. I was in the collab bingo. Every year I not only enter the collab bingo from Dr. Creepin, but I also keep the list, the Excel sheet with all of the information from the other narrators that participate and the stories they choose, to keep it a lot easier for Doc to get a oversight, I believe that's the right word, of all of the information, since it's usually quite a bit by the end of it. But yeah, I was in that collaboration, which also has 2 parts. I believe if you go to my channel and go all the way down below with the playlists, you can see collaborations and you can find other videos with people I've worked on, and also both of the collab bingo videos from Dr. Creepin, if you would be interested. And you can also check out all the other cool narrators that are in there who have joined, who are pretty good themselves. I'm trying to remember when I subbed. Oh, no idea, but welcome. Ajay, hi! Welcome, my friend! How are you? Time to cook. Ah, fun. So you're listening to the live stream while you're cooking. Good luck, dude! Pumpkin Queen, main villain confirmed. Yes. I don't have the most evil laugh though, but we'll fix that. We'll practice. Kai, pizza fresh from the oven. Ooh. I wanted to reply in Dutch, but that's not a good idea. I don't think anyone will know what eet smakelijk means. Have a nice dinner. Damn, now I'm hungry for pizza too. Shit. Okay, unpopular opinion, but who else loves pineapple on pizza? Or am I a monster for liking that now? I'm pretty sure I'm not, but I like to know. I like to know. Are there more people who like pineapple on the pizza? Alright. Let's see at how many percent did I put the other one? 100, 210. Alright, this should be big enough. Big boy. Then everyone who watches the stream can watch along and read along with me. September Dragon. I love pineapple on pizza. Oh, good! Then we're on the same team. Yeah, I'm taking a sippy sip before we start up again. Yes, water. Stay hydrated, people. That's a very smart thing to do. I only now realize that this story is at least 5 times longer than the last one. You party people wouldn't mind if this is going to take a couple of streams to finish this. Because 51,000 words is a whole lot longer than I expected it to be. Ooh. Aurora, that's a book. That's a book. Well, to be fair, she did bring it out as a book. Hold on for a second. Since we're already on a break right now, go check out the writer, Aurora Dawn, who, yes, brought out the story and all the other stories from the Rainbow Factory and the Pegasus Device as a book, which you can read. You can buy it right here on Lulu. So if you guys want to check out the book, you can buy it on paperback for around 16, 17 euros. So yeah, go follow her, go check her out, buy her book if you want to support a writer. And yeah, let's get back into it. Ha. Pegasus device. Chapter 1. Any final words? You miserable, worthless whore of a fool. You have beautiful eyes. Get every pony out of this room. Seal it off. Lock it down. No one goes unless I say they can. But, Mrs. Dash... Do as I say. Use the backup devices for now. The main theater room is to remain off limits to everyone. Miss Dash, what do you want us to do with the fall? Get out! Just leave me be. I'll deal with the meat sack. Yes, Miss Dash. Oh, Scootaloo. Why? How could you fail me like that? I'm... blah blah blah. Who's saying this? I have no idea who's saying this. I'm telling you, Rainbow, I need more engineers. We can't continue to keep this facility up and running with a skeleton crew you've provided us. It will be a damn shame to watch the entire new factory fall apart because you're too cheap to recruit me as an employee. Or two. Come on, Hyde. What do you expect me to do? Toss an ad in Cloudsdale Gazette. Wanted. Engineer to help maintain full disembowelment. Oopsie daisy. That was a string I shouldn't have pulled. I hope that my model still moves. Eee. Oops. Wanted. Engineer to help maintain file disembowelment, machinery and other devices of mass murder for the purpose of manufacturing rainbows. Competitive benefits, serious applicants only. We can't just hire someone. Oh, for Celestia's sake, Rainbow! How have you looked at this building? 10 engineers cannot properly maintain 6 different floors for high efficient weather creation machinery. Not to mention, we still need to keep an old factory from falling apart in order to keep the whole thing operational. Hyde, walk with me. Rainbow Dash rose from his seat, groaning slightly. The 2 decades had been long and stressful for managing the Cloudsdale Weather Corporation. The company had flourished under her leadership, mostly thanks to her undying loyalty to Cloudsdale. She had managed to spread Pegasus-controlled weather far beyond Equestria's borders as well. Working under her was the best way to travel and see the world. Hyde followed his supervisor, sighing deeply as she led him out the door. They stepped from her office into a cramped, dimly lit hallway. The walls were perfectly smooth, featureless clouds broken only by the occasional door. Dash's efforts to control her tone of voice were very clear to the stallion. Yet, she remained calm as she spoke. 20 years ago, you operated this facility flawless, Hyde. What did Tartarus happened? Why can you no longer do the job we pay you to do? Mind explaining this to me? Because 20 years ago I had 3 times the staff I have now, and the facility about 1/10 of the size and complexity as this one is. Ignoring the backup machines, we only had the Pegasus device to keep running. Since then, most of my staff's been involved in industrial accidents, received disciplinary action, or simply gone insane. You're insane, Hyde. I'm insane. Yes, but we recognize that. So on top of being reducted to my luckiest workers, we've got not one, but 6 devices to keep running. Those alone take all of our work hours to remain. Hyde, take a look around. See what I've built? What do you see in this room? I see the Kevlar and steel fiber mixers. Yes, exactly. We developed these machines to infuse clouds with textiles, rendering them both completely solid and lighter than air. Construction companies across the globe buy out our stock in them. Heck, the whole Cloudsdale weather complex is even made out of them. What's your point, Rainbow? The mag annoyed the stallion, urging him to follow. Hyde sighed yet again and adjusted his wine lab coat before following his supervisor. Look over there, Dash said, pointing with a dusty blue wing to a modern-looking cube, massive in relation to the workers next to it. Her coat was dulled over the years, and while there was no trace of grey in her mane, its once vivid colour now lay flat and drained. What? One of the Pegasus devices? What's so special about that? Back before the incident, it took several ponies worth of livestock to extract 1 rainbow's worth of spectra. Your research team's engineering, we've managed to lower that average to 2 falls. Progress, Hyde, progress. Speaking of progress, that reminds me. Later. Progress that was made by increasing efficiency and decreasing costs, not by acting as if we have infinite money. Do you think we get those pitiful failures for free? I wasn't aware that we sent the flight school purchase orders for the dysfunctional idiots. No. Bite your tongue. Bribes. Payoffs. It takes a lot of bits to keep everything top secret. So, what do you want from me? Just 1 employee, Rainbow. That's all I ask. For buck's sake, 1 damned engineer. I suppose I could always promote one to lower factory. Oh, thanks, Luna. Yes, please. Well then, follow me. If you really want an engineer that badly, then it's your decision as to who gets to leave the families behind. Fair enough? The mare led the way, opening her eye wide by panel by a large door. A series of electronic whistles went off as the door slid open, hissing, allowing access to the dark hallway beyond, in direct contrast with the fluorescent room they had left. Both ponies were obscured in complete darkness. We're taking the long way then, she sighed, becoming flustered. I'm not done making my point. I don't think you understand the importance of Cloudsdale anymore. I'm figuring before I sent you away for disciplinary action, I could at least try and help you myself. Hyde pursed his lips. She questioned my loyalty to this factory. I particularly built it from the ground up, but Dash does what Dash does. Better to keep quiet. Who knows, Hyde? Soon you may be able to retire. And the easiest way to help, you know, how vulnerable we are in Cloudsdale is to pay attention to how we operate. Am I wrong? Of course not, Rainbow. Call me Miss Dash, please. I'm Miss Superior, whether you like it or not. Of course, Miss Dash. She reached into a wall, unlocking a hidden door. The room beyond offered minimal light, just enough not to lose your footing. The two padded in, closing the door behind them. You should be able to tell me what's in there. A Class 2 Pegasus device. 2nd edition. Serial number 88 Alpha Tango. Good, good. What's it doing, Hyde? It's currently in operation, working at a core temperature of 70 degrees Celsius, breaking input resources in an efficiency ratio of 3 units of spectra per unit of livestock. Cut the technical jargon, Hyde. It makes rainbows. Exactly. But since you're clearly avoiding the subject, allow me to describe to you what the machine is doing. Good timing too, as it just now finished with its last failure. Dash cleared her throat, observing the humming machine as it settled. After a moment she whispered to the stallion next to her, smiling deviously. The process starts as most factory productions go. A unit of raw resources is placed onto the feed that leads into the machine. To stallions, their muscle body is threading to tear out of the suit, hoisted a fill blue coat onto the conveyor belt. The colt was horrified. His hooves bent and tied at painful angles underneath him. He was forced to stare at the machine in front of him, forced to watch, unable to look away from the maw of the Pegasus device. The machine loads raw resources into its primary process segment, breaking the material down into workable size. No! No! Help! Luna! Celestia! Oh, help! Help! Any pony! Hyde paid close attention, watching the scene and flinching, as an umbracy of blades and hooks drew the colt into the Pegasus device. The laser scanned the blue Pegasus, determining the location of all its appendages. With a whir, the massive blades adjusted and slammed down onto the colt, severing all of his limbs. After processing the colt, it then feeds the resources into a secondary processing segment, where a top secret technology disintegrates the flesh and extracts the spectra. I nodded, struggling to hear Dash over the warring coming of the machine. The screaming became more fluid, blubbering up, until finally there was nothing. The spectra is then pumping into a mixed department below, and I'm sure you can understand what happens from there. Yes, Hyde sputtered, urging Dash along. That's all very nice, and I get it. Can we please just go get my engineer, Miss Dash? All right, Rainbow sighed, rubbing her neck with a hoof. I really wish you'd put more effort into this, Hyde. You're a good friend to me, and I hate to have to lose you. Hyde punched a switch onto the wall, and the cloud shifted to reveal a cramped elevator shaft. They walked in and stood on the either side of the door. After a quick retina scan, the door slowly slid shut and the elevator shook violently, beginning its descent to the lower factory. You're a good friend of me too, Dash. And I believe I do love this job. I love to work ever since that wonderful, glorious first day got to see the result of my hard work. The first rainbow in the sky, made with the first batch of failures I oversaw. I was terrified, back then, at what we were doing, but knowing how happy we were making Equestria, and how safe we're keeping Cloudsdale, everything fell into place. Dash's eyes clouded with nostalgia, and she looked softly at the stallion. So, you're not losing your edge. Heavens, no! It's just frustration, Dash. Take a look out there. Things have changed since the renovations. Your upper factory, both the old and the new, is obscured and constant thunder threat. Competitive edge, I think, is how you sold that to the princess. Instead of 2 floors, only 1 machine to maintain. You've given me 6 different floors on factory with not only 1 Pegasus device, but Cloud solidifies high-powered ice crystallizers. And not to mention the holding rooms for the failures that powers most of these machines. Some days I wish I could go back to that 1 main theater room, and Dash happy expression dropped. His absolute fear gripped her face. No. Stop. No pony shall ever go into that room unless I specifically request it. Why do you want to go there? Dash, calm down. That's not what I meant. I just... Dash. Hyde struck a rainbow-maned mare, causing her to stumble. Her bulging eyes relaxed, focusing on the stallion above her. She reached up, panting, and Hyde helped her back onto her hooves. Thank you. Sorry. It's alright. Oh, while we have a minute, you said you remembered something about the device? One of my researchers handed me this letter, insisted you read it. Your eyes only, kind of thing. Hyde reached into his lab coat, fishing out a crumpled note. He tossed it to Dash, and she caught it with a look of curiosity, covering her face. She was quiet as she read, and Hyde focused her expression. Dash's eyes popped up once again, her legs shaking as she continued to read. How long has this been in development? Sorry? Don't play stupid with me, Hyde. You had to have read this already. How long has your team been working on this? Hyde was silent for a moment, carefully forming his next sentence. Dr. Tube was working on an entirely different project, the one you commissioned to see if there were any other resources we could gain from test failures. He was trying to determine if skin could be used in the Cloud solidifiers, organic tissue instead of Kevlar. It was one last night. Apparently he discovered we could only extract spectra harmlessly, without any damage to the resources. Dash whispered, staring at the floor. For over 20 years, I have run this company. I've seen friends and family pass by those doors and into the conveyor belts. And you mean to tell me it was for nothing? She raised her voice rose to a shout. The whole incident. Oh. The whole incident could have been entirely avoided. Are you fucking kidding me? Dash. This technology didn't even exist until last year. It's pointless to dwell on the past. Think of the future. No more need to murder fools. We could run it like a blood drive for a better Cloudsdale. Just imagine it now. Stallions and mares and everyone will flock to us. Particularly infinite resources. Who can change them to donate? Who could resist the idea of being part of a rainbow? Just imagine, Dash. Just imagine? Hardly. Shut the program down. Have Dr. Testube send the Inquin resources. I'd personally like to find out how many feathers he can have, individually torn from his body before he passes out. And then perhaps see how well he can work without his 4 hooves. Just the hooves, mind you. I can't afford to outfit our facility with ramps. Dash, that's outrageous! What's wrong with you? This is a legitimate way to further the glory of Cloudsdale and the flock, increase the value of the entire company, and stop this senseless killing we've done for millennia. Senseless. See, that's what had me worried about you. This isn't senseless. We're doing Cloudsdale a favor by removing those worthless to wear its name. That's what you seem to have forgotten, Hyde. Besides, how do you expect me to announce that? We have to let the whole world know about what we've done? The company would be ruined. Celestia would kill us all. Well, maybe we do need to do some cleaning. Start fresh. Since when did you get a conscience? No. Hyde. No, it's final. Do you understand me? The elevator shuddered to a stop, and the door swept open. The room ahead was a cavernous rainbow mixing room. Rainbow sniffed deeply, enjoying her first breath of fresh air in months, while ignoring the awestruck workers in the room. Most had never seen the manager of Cloudsdale Weather Corporation. Even less ever expected to. An aura of fear gripped the room. The sun pony from the upper factory normally meant someone in a body bag was coming down, or that they might vanish beyond the doors until they were released with a death. The name, Miss Dash, Hyde seated, is Dr. Atmosphere. I do have the degree, you know. Atmosphere pointed at a group of similarly clothed workers and shouted, "You there! Which of you is now dating at the moment?" 4 of the Pegasi bolted, leaving 2 mares to look around wildly for some sort of assistance. "All right, you." Dr. Atmosphere pointed at a dark red hoof at the first, a large light green mare. "How long have you worked for Cloudsdale Weather?" 4 years, sir. "You." Atmosphere aimed at the second mare. She gulped, her pale body cowering away from the opposing stallion. 6 months, sir. "Excellent. You, Greenie, come with me. You've just been promoted. Say your goodbyes, as the age-old saying goes." Atmosphere trailed off, controlling his anger a dash and clearing his throat. Saying? "Welcome, Mills. Welcome to the Rainbow Factory." Atmosphere cackled, practically dragging the terrified mane with him to the elevator. Dash was unable to hold back her trademark smirk, catching the eyes of the workers, till the door to the elevator slammed shut. Okay. Let's see who has entered the chat. Doop-de-doo. Agramondo, lol, pineapple on pizza is continuous. Personally, I love ham and pineapple pizza. Oh, okay. That's good. More people who agree with me. Madam Raven. Oh, hi! Welcome to the live stream. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Yes, she was, Guy. Yeah. Unlighted World United. Welcome. Welcome to the live stream. Good to have you. Alrighty. For the people who haven't seen it yet, I am currently narrating the Pegasus device, since we've already finished the Rainbow Factory. If you want to listen to the ending of that, you can skip back to live chat or the live stream and yeah, listen to the ending. The previous story was also in my previous live stream for those who like to listen to that. So yeah, this is gonna be quite the series. Knowing how long these stories are. But they're great. They bring back so much nostalgia. Okay. Cold gusts blasted against the side of the cabin and rocked the carriage violently. Cloud Coven looked up, taking her surroundings. She wasn't sure how exactly she failed her flight exam. Something about closing her wings too soon. It didn't matter. All Cloud understood was that she was on her way to the clouds. She was on her way out of Cloudsdale, out of Equestria, and out of the lives of memories of all her friends and family. It wasn't fair. But what is fair, anyways? The dusty purple filly sighed, trying to spot something, anything of interest to make flight less painful. All she could see were 4 other falls, each secluded and silent. Cloud immediately gave up on the conversation, as at first they had been willing to try and talk the flight away. But it soon became apparent that they could find nothing to discuss except their shameful failures. Cloud ran her hoof through her short tail mane. Sighing, she slumped back against the cold wooden wall of the carriage, aggressively sitting still and staring pointed at nothing. Who needs Cloudsdale anyways? She lied to herself. Who am I kidding? She thought. We all needed Cloudsdale. Oh, Celestia, who deserved this? What have we done wrong? No, calm down, Cloud. Now isn't the time to get all wishy-washy. Might as well enjoy the ride, I guess. Fuck me. She rubbed her hooves into her bright yellow eyes, pressing the sleep out of her. A glint of light caught his sight as thunder crackled around the falls. She jumped, her member echoing the other falls, swallowing her fear. She turned towards the light source and noticed a split in the wood. After a quick check to make sure no one was paying attention, the filly lay down and pressed her face against the wall. The sky outside a maelstrom of thumping clouds and flashes of lightning. The thunder shook her insides, threatening to suck oxygen straight from her lungs. This is weird. Shouldn't we have passed this storm by now? It feels like we have been in it for hours. Maybe we're outside of Equestria by now. One of the few places Cloudsdale weather doesn't moderate the weather. That would make sense, I guess. shipped affiliates to a land they refused to sell to. A bolt of electricity snapped just feet from her muzzle, the shockwave blowing back the shrieking cloud. Yee! Cloud! Cloud! For the love of Luna, stop screaming! A pale orange cord smacking the purple filly, pushing her back against the cabin floor. You hit me, Corona! Cloud Coven muttered, holding a hoof to his sore face. I'm sorry for laughing. Corona. Corona. That did not age well. It did not. Yeah, okay. Serious. Try to get it smug off your face. Sorry. I'm sorry, Clouds. You know me. I always act before I'm thinking. Thanks. I needed that. Listen, Corona. I know we all got tired of talking about it, but I was sent to the carriage before you. How do you feel? What happened? The colt rubbed his neck, glancing down at his cutie mark. It was a golden horseshoe with wings, reminiscent of the gods of speed they learned about in the equestrian mythology. I did everything too fast, as usual. And ponies used to say that I'd be useful to the flock with my speed. Who'd have thought that I'd be unable to make my sharp turns to fly through the hoops. I don't get it, Cloud. Why do we have to leave? You're the smart one, of all those journals you've worked on. I don't know. Just because I was the editor for our academy's paper doesn't mean I understand everything, Corona. What's your best guess? Well, it's Cloudsdale, isn't it? Have you ever seen a Pegasus pony on the weather team that had a disability, was kinda mental? Can't say I have. Exactly. That's why we're sent away, I think. To preserve that perfect image. Understandably so, I guess. It wouldn't want to be part of a race like unicorns of earth ponies. Flaws. We can't have flaws. But why not? Sorry? What's wrong with being unique? Ponies make mistakes, Cloud. All ponies do. Why does Cloud still get a final say as to which mistakes are intolerable signs of weakness? I don't know, Corona. Frankly, I don't really care. You don't have the slightest idea. I doubt that. You think too much to not have an opinion. Opinions are worthless in the grand scheme of the... You've got nothing else to discuss. Fine. With all great things come great responsibility. Right? You've heard that before, haven't you? Of course, Corona nodded, laying down next to the cloud cover. Another burst of thunder shook them to the core, and the rain seemed to hammer even harder than before, on the roof above them. Ice-cold water drizzled onto them, through the holes in the wood, and they nestled closely together, keeping warm. Good, the purple filly sighed, thinking back to the article she had written on the subject back in flight school. Absently, she stared at a cutie mark, a pencil and notepad, before continuing to speak. Crouchdale prided itself on being the greatest of things, and naturally that comes with the greatest of responsibilities. Complete and total control of the entire weather system, across not only Equestria, but now most of the world as well. The weather, in turn, affects ecosystems, which affects economies, which affect the entirety of social constructs we rely on to stay alive. In short, it's a pretty big deal. With such masses due to pay Equestria, Cloudsdale has to do whatever it takes. The consequences of failing such enormous task would be worse than the consequences of whatever Cloudsdale was to do succeed. So in comparison to complete global meltdown, our exile warrant makes sense? You use a lot of large words. We need to be sent away to Cloudsdale to stay successful. Fair enough, Baroness sighed, dropping his head to the floor. After a while of aching silence, he turned his eye to the split in the wood and looked outside. If it's too further the flock, what's there to be mad about? Cloud-covered rolled his eyes and sat back, trying her best to ignore the world around her. What's there to care about, really? Hey, I thought we were supposed to leave Equestria. We are? Why? Because I'm fairly certain that Cloudsdale's weather corporation's down there. That's insane! Let me look! The journalist pushed her friend aside and peered onto the storm. That can't be, she reeled, glaring at the unmistakable complex below. What the Tartarus was going on? Hey Cloud, aren't we in the no-fly zone? He's right, but nobody's been allowed this close to the corporation before. Not in 2 decades it existed. Corona had managed to find another knot in the wood and stood next to Cloud, watching intently with her. Wow, would you look at that? Above the old factory, a new addition. It's massive. Cloudcover couldn't pull herself away from the image presented to her. In the clearing of the storm was the ever-familiar old factory, the building which had stood in Cloudsdale's skyline for millennia. On top of it, however, lay the 6 new floors that had been built by the major malfunction in the secret machinery of the upper factory. The entire addition was obscured in a vehement and horrifying tempest, so dark as if it were sucking away the light around it. It bellowed the callous slowly, particularly deliberately, a sleeping giant protecting its valuable golden eggs inside. The 2 fowls watched with concern as the carriage swept them past the front end of the building. It was rare for any pony who didn't work for Cloudsdale Weather to approach the facility. Never mind go around behind it. This is unheard of. What are we doing here? The cabin shifted suddenly, further confusing the tool, plowing straight into the pitch-black smoke, smothering every ounce of light, and left with nothing but their thoughts. The fowls moved away from the walls and sat down with the rest of their terrified companions. Alrighty. Hey, Nvidia! Good to see you, sis! Yo! I came in the right moment! Oh, gotta help Robert. Go help your boyfriend. See you back in a bit. Hope you're enjoying the story. Yeah. Alright, I have another sip. We're going to continue. Dr. Atmosphere began, dragging a chair back and placing himself in it. So, he said, facing the light green mare, who sat across a cold metallic table from her. The mare sat sweating in bright artificial light of the tiny interview room. There was no scenery to distract herself, only glistering walls of cloud, the table, and a malicious smiling stallion that stood between her and the door. So, she questioned, her voice timid and unsure. So, Dr. Atmosphere? Yes, indeed, that's exactly who I am. But seeing as you were going to be spending a lot of time together, feel free to call me Hyde. Now, Mrs. he trilled, digging into his wrinkled lab coat. He pulled out a clipboard and set it down onto the table, his movements meticulous, practiced and precise. With a flick of a wing, he unfolded a pair of glasses and put them on. Miss Butterwing? Hyde looked up, cocking an eyebrow. What an unusual name. Gentle Butterwing. Please, call me Gentle. I hate to hear my last name. Gentle. How quaint. No, Gentle. What are your duties in the lower factory? Mechanical engineering, Dr. Atmos. Call me Atmosphere again, and I shall forever call you Butterwing. I like the reserved usage of my former title, and dealing with petty exam failures. Exam failures? I don't follow. Your duties, Gentle. Lower factory duties. Right. Sorry. Gentle rubbed the back of her neck, feeling the headache begin. She took a moment to stretch her wings. But what have I done with my life? Where am I here? How did I end up in this mess? The green Pegasus sighed deeply. They sat up straight and attempted to look the stallion in his eyes. Terror surged throughout Gentle's body. She could not place the sound of her fright, yet as she locked onto Atmosphere's steely pupils, it came all the same. There was something about them, that sunken blackness, that reflected pure hatred and decades of spite. Gentle shivered and looked down at the table. I was in mechanical engineering section. My work included maintenance of atomizers and the piping from the rainbow pools. I was also tasked last year with designing a more efficient cloud generator, but I finished that report a few months ago. Hyde leaned backward, whistling. I thought your last name was familiar. I read that report, Gentle. Excellent logic in placing the consequences outside the intercooler. You'd be glad to know that report just recently passed approval by Mrs. Dash and will be placed into effect next month. Hyde lifted his clipboard and scribbled a small note onto it, allowing himself a smile. Gentle held her excitement back at the news, afraid at what any outburst of emotion, good or otherwise, could do in this interview. She straightened herself again, looked up from the table, still avoiding Hyde's gaze. Tell me, Gentle. Hyde stood up, walking around the table and sitting behind the green man. Do you know anything about the upper factory? I know there's two sections, the old factory and the new factory. Good. Very good. What else do you know? The old factory is mostly a placeholder for material transportation systems from the new factory to the lower factory now. The factory is responsible for spectra manufacturing as well as research and development. Fantastic! I laughed and patted Gentle on her back before circling the table again to his seat. He stood next to it, focusing on the mirror. Do you know what goes into spectra, Gentle?
No, sir.
Well, you're going to find out. So, congratulations! You're one of the few who get to learn the main component of spectra. Look at me, Gentle. It took every ounce of her willpower to raise her eyes to Hyde's level, but Gentle did as told. The instant she did, that same terror came flooding back, as if her very being was being drained into those soulless Britannias. Spectra is a pigment in equine bodies, responsible for the colors of fur and mane. It bonds with magic, keeping it fresh and allowing it to change and flow through a pony. That same magic bonds with where the cutie mark comes from. Did you know that? Without it, we'd forever be a blank flank. That's interesting. Now, surely by now you must have an idea of our resources, don't you?
I have an idea.
Please, tell me, Gentle. I'm simply fascinated to hear what you have to say. Gentle took in his seat, running her hoof through her pink mane, as she failed to progress everything that she just learned. Sweat dripped off her face, and she risked looking at the red stallion in front of her. There she sat, cold, unmoving, his calculated eyes apparent, emphatic, yet focused in deep concentration at the same time. His hooves were pressed together, tapping patiently at the unforgiving steel table, his nose quickly growing louder and heightened the throbbing in her head. Tap, 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 tap. That's impossible! Gentle snapped, kicking herself back from the table. She clipped a hoof on a chair and fell, crashing onto the floor.
There's no way! Cloudsdale would have noticed! Celestia would have noticed all the missing ponies!
Hyde was standing over top, Gentle, calmly lending a wing to help her up. The mare stared at the wing as if it were venomous, and shuffled back as Hyde spoke. Now, Mrs. Butterwing, he chuckled, his wing still extended. Who said anything about capturing innocent ponies? No, Celestia, no. We never considered such a thing. Clearly, you're overthinking everything. Gentle's ears dropped in shame as she accepted the wing up, sitting back into her chair as the doctor did the same.
I'm sorry,
she muttered.
Anxious, you know, with what all the secrecy and everything. A lot of workers would spare this place is haunted, even. So, then, if not innocent ponies... She hazarded a laugh, and felt relief wash over her as Hyde returned one. If not innocent ponies, then what is the spectra made out of? Guilty falls. Hyde coughed, slapping at the table. Gentle twitched. Gentle? Hello? Guilty of what? Failing the flight test, of course. That... you can't be serious. Oh. He can't be serious. He's saying this as if he should be so obvious to me. You monsters! Oh, we're the monsters, are we? Let me explain something, Gentle, and I do hope you listen carefully. Those pathetic excuses for Pegasi are the real villains. They threaten to destroy the every essence of Cloudsdale. With reputation comes power, Gentle, and power brings immortality. Reputation cannot exist while hopeless morons with lame wings buck around dropping anvils on earth ponies. So, if we can't maintain our reputation, we lose our immortality. But they're only children! For fuck's sake! I can't be a part of this. This insanity? Hyde stood up, shaking his head in consternation. Oh, Gentle, Gentle, Gentle. I was afraid you wouldn't quite understand it from Cloudsdale's weather point of view. None of the employees ever do. That's why we've an official pony around the very matter. I refuse. It's not that simple, darling. I do hope you pay close attention. The stallion leaned in close to Gentle from behind, his hot breath tickling her throat. All the new upper pony employees are entitled to a choice. If you choose to offer yourself up as a volunteer to produce spectra, we allow one test failure to go free. They never know they failed. They go on, unfortunately, to live a rich, fulfilling life at the cost of your own. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? Die, just to get a disgusting runt, potentially taint our reputation. Hyde laughed heartily, slapping Gentle on her back. Isn't that a riot? That's... How can you make someone choose? You heartless bastards! If you refuse to decide, we take both of your lives. Don't feel so bad. Very, very few have accepted this offer. As far as I can remember in my entire career of Cloudsdale weather, there hasn't been more than a handful. It's rather pointless, you know. We've saved one yellow filly decades ago, and not 2 days after she passed her test, she plummeted to the earth and was never seen from again. He smiled with nostalgia, relishing the memory of that useless pony dropping from the sky like a horsefly. A little bit before then we saved some cross-eyed Pegasus with an unhealthy obsession with bubbles. A year later she was knocked up by a royal guard and left to fend for herself on the ground. Why are you telling me this? Gentle cried, hiding her muscle in her hooves. Because I absolutely hate to see a fantastic engineer as yourself give up some sack of manicure can scander a free life. Well, when you put it that way, pretty convincing, isn't it? As a tear floated past her hoof and dropped onto the table.
Gentle nodded. I refuse the offer. I accept the position. Excellent! Dr. Atmosphere closed his files and tucked it back into his coat with a flourish. My office is just down the hall on the right. Please, find me when you're ready. Welcome to Clarksdale Redder, Upper Factory, Gentle Butterwing. I'm sure you'll be just mad about our work and progress. The stallion beamed as brightly as possible as he closed the door to the office. Gentle only sobbed. Remember that one that had that Devanir Grove disorder? Wow, okay, great sentence. Sorry. Yeah, that one of the bluish pink one from what? In 3 years now. That's alright, boys. That was the one, right? Boy, wasn't she a fiendish one? All dancing around. Someone give Control a smack over there. 8. He's gone kooky again. One of the two other Pegasi reached across the damp, unbroken couch, smacking the sky blue one named Contrail with a vicious hoof. The others broke into uproarious laughter as Contrail's heretics dropped to a quiet, unending giggle. The twitching onto the floor, clutching at his sides. Swear, De Luna, I'm the only sane one in this crew. Sanity? Pipe rich. A Tartarus is that word supposed to mean? A dark orange Pegasus with an incredibly long blonde mane turned to question his supervisor. Pipe Ranch was battleship grey. His cutie mark a wristed knot and bolt. His alright light coat was faded and scarred, and the lines of his face mapped a long and stressful life. Pipe Ranch seemed constantly trying to blink the sleep from his eyes, failing every time. Sighing, the stallion answered the other employee. Means Gauge. At one point in time it holds held and ta. Our minds as hard as you told your coat. Oh, calm yourself, Pipe. No need to get all upset about it. Hold on to a... The two stallions around Control merely watched as he lapsed back into uncontrollable laughter. After a minute, Pipe Ranch blinked and looked up. All I'm saying is the joke about losing, about sanity, ain't a joke. Joke? Gauge kicked Control in the temple, silencing the annoying cackle. Damn shame his sense of humor is so broken. The orange Pegasus frowned. He's the only one of us who's quality to mix the coffee machine. Wouldn't trust ya, machine from life. Whoa. Probably powered by blood and unis, you know? Ah, swear me, boy. This darn place, I'll rip you to shreds, ain't have a heartbeat. Aight? Oh my god. This is so hard to read. I'm sorry if my dyslexic brain is messing this up. I'm trying, I really am. Oh. Gauge tilted his head slightly, unconsciously tapping his hoof on the table with an incredibly rapid fashion. He and Pipe Ranch stared into each other's eyes for what could have been seconds, hours, days. He had no concept of time anymore. As Gauge liked to put it,
They invested so much time and effort into keeping the sun shining. They had no intention of ever enjoying it again. Eventually, the engineering broke the silence.
Say what? Factory, kill ya? Ain't careful? Oh, yeah, for sure, Pipe. I've known that for years. Everyone here knows that. What's your point? Dunno. Wouldn't mind your cough, though.
The door to the scheduled break room bursted open, flooded a cramped and dark area with a bright artificial light from the hallway.
For the love of fuck, what is with your Balladorious cocks? Turn on the blasted light.
Christ's apologies, Dr. Atmosphere. We weren't expecting you around so suddenly. Contrail was gonna clean up the place, but... Gotch indicated the blue stallion drooling on the floor.
He's, bit preoccupied.
He has been taking a supplied medication?
Of course not.
Good. Only thing's worse than a psychotic pony with a wrench in this building is a mentally hindered one. You three are bad enough on the level.
Love you too, Doc. Nothing bursts your pipe, rainbow spewing out your wazo.
There'll be rainbows spewing out of your plot if you don't hurry up and learn to speak properly. Pipe wrench. No, everything is fine. I'd like to introduce you all to the latest employee of Cloudesdale Weather Upper Factory. Her name is Gentle. The light green mare shivered behind Dr. Atmosphere. She shook her head, hiding behind her pink mane. Oh, come on, Gentle. There's no need for fear, these three. Except, perhaps, the doctor trilled, nudging the twitching blue pony on the ground with a hoof. Contrail, but do not worry about him. For what he lacks in rational thoughts, he marks up with efficient work. Gotch placed a hoof around Gentle's shoulder, leading her into the break room. Please, Gentle, relax. Have a seat on the couch. Mind the springs. Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee beans and water? What's wrong with the coffee maker? It's the damnest thing. Atmosphere interrupted, nestling into a broken recliner. One day it's up and quit. Every single one of us are incredibly qualified at figuring out mechanical and electrical problems without the slightest effort. Yet we can't get the fucking coffee maker to brew. It's blinking 12. Gentle nodded.
Thanks, darling. We are well aware.
Now, is that a clock or the timer?
What? Gouch coughed.
I have the same model at home. That's the countdown to brew feature. Someone tried to set it to brew in 12 hours and it never hit start. Gouch, pipe wrench and Hyde all turned and stared intently at the tiny little white piece of plastic and metal that eluded all of the decoded skills. An awkward silence of frustrated realization. Contrail burst awake, hysterically. You silly fillies. I said that. I was waiting for you all to get it. And Dr. Atmosphere twitched. 2 years, Contrail. 2 years. 2 years without coffee. I should tear your flesh asunder and feed you to the Timberwolves. But you won't, because I'm the only one who knows. Knows how to
What was it? I'm the only one who knows how to do whatever it is. Maintain the caliber cloud mixes without shutting them down. What a riot. Gotch is right. Get the stallion a race. So, how does the hours work? Is there a place for me to sleep? Gentle nested back into the couch. She couldn't stop herself from laughing at the control. These freaks are totally off their rockers, but they seemed nice. It's fun. How does this whole thing work? Pipe Wrench began to speak, but Gouch immediately cut him off, holding a hoof up to a scared stallion. Save it, Pipe. Let someone who can talk explain it. Otherwise you're just gonna say 1,000,000 times, and no one will ever enlighten it. And no one will leave enlightened. Yes. Gentle giggled and relaxed, finding herself comfortable in the cramped room. Oh Celestia, what's happening? This shouldn't be this easy. No, a rainbow still isn't quite as nice as a story you know of sugar and spice. She knew about the spectra, Gotch. Skip that. Right, sorry. I just remembered that instructional video left over from the last manager. Anyways, basically, Gentle, we work on a on-call basis, which has pretty much been all the time lately. Food is provided, it's excellent, by the way. You have no idea. As well as the mandatory break periods. Enforced by the same agency that makes sure Cloudsdale weather doesn't murder baby ponies who can't fly, aka no one. So, get used to being tired. Thank Luna we have coffee now. Though, you're immediately the best worker here. Not often, I agree with you three, but yes. Congratulations, Gentle. You've provided yourself by making us all look like fools. I'm sorry. Hyde bursted into laughter, sliding down in the recliner. The chair's back snapped and the red engineer nearly flipped over, shaking in mirth. It's... Oh, Gentle, don't worry. I may make a snide comment or two, but I can never get rid of a great employee. Only Dash tends to do that. He sneered, looking away as abruptly as the sentence ended. The only stallions all shrunk down, avoiding eye contact with anything possible. Okay, lesson 1. Don't mention the manager. Same as lower factory etiquettes. Makes sense. Oh God, they still aren't saying anything. This is painful. Sleeping quarters. Gentle fed, faking a smile. Right, sorry. This is a private room provided for employees. Being an engineer, you're lucky. You get your own place to sleep. The guards are labours, have a bunk in what's pretty much backouts. What's the room like? Cold bare walls like the rest of this place, or any kind of amenities? The beds are kind of comfy, Pipe muttered. Excellent soundproofing, Hyde added. To be honest, Gentle, none of us really ever use our rooms. We've been too busy. When we hit a slowdown, we usually sit around here, telling dirty jokes and punching contrail. That might be why he can't stop laughing. The laughing is a heck of a lot better than when he used to cry. That was fun. I stay up all night just screaming away and wallowing and sobbing and yes, that was fun. That was had by all. Control. We're very glad that was a happy time for you. The best was the nightmares, like the one where... Control. Sorry, Dr. Atmosphere. For a second, the blue Pegasus giggled, halted, and he allowed himself to shiver. H? Trial? Yeah, pipe. How many failures does it take to make a rainbow? How many? All of them. You should tell him, Tick. You should tell him like it is, Pipe. Gentle shrieked back into the couch, ignoring the spring complaints. What happened to Control anyways? Hyde stood up from the broken recliner and walked towards the coffee maker. He spoke softly as he fumbled with the machine, his back towards the new employee. Same thing that always happened to any of us. Just a lot sooner. Poor fellow didn't have it in him to handle the stress of the factory. Don't worry, darling, Couch sat next to Gentle, bringing a hoof around her shoulder and pushing her up from the couch. It's not all death and machinery around here. We do have a little fun, after all. How? Gentle frowned, bruising her pink mane from her eyes. How in Luna's name do you manage to have fun around here? Well, with resource progressing, of course. Go on. Couple of decades ago, we have thought res of an incident. Since we've got to make sure all that failures ain't gonna mess up the factory. So we check 'em out, watch 'em taking stuff. It's like reality TV, you know? Do you guys ever actually work around here? Excellent point. Hyde barked, drowning the coffee he had just brewed. All you ladies show that stallion what we do around here. Start off with the basic maintenance, then you can progress the failures before finally explaining to Gentle how to keep the Pegasus device up and running. Aye aye, Captain. Shut it, Pipe. You are giving me a headache. Control zipped out of his seat, doing a loop-de-loop around the workers before bolting out of the door. Gentle could hear his laughter long after he vanished down the long, barren hallway. He's a bit of a character. I think he's faking it, the orange Pegasus whispered, shaking the mane back. Hey, you mind tossing me the hairnet for me? Safety measures and whatnot? I can only do it, but it's a pain in a plot to have to lean against the wall and punch up my mane. He rolled his eyes, offering a small bundle of netting to Gentle. I suppose... do I need one? Appreciate it, he mumbled, ducking his head as the mane folded his hair into a net. Nah, you should be fine. Your mane isn't that long after all. Really, if it's long enough for a failure to grab a hold of it, you need to tie it up. What a strange requirement, Gentle mused, following Gouge out of the break room. Funny story. Let's see. I'm so sorry for Pipe Wrench. Oh, it's fine. I'm not used to reading lines like that. Also, hi, welcome Aurora to the stream. Everyone in the chat, welcome Aurora. She's the writer of today's story. Big round of applause to her because her stories are absolutely amazing. But it's fine, I just have to get into it, and for my dyslexia it's sometimes a little harder to read it when it's written in such manner. But I'll manage. I'm managing. A lot better than I thought I would. I can't stick around, but thanks so much for doing this reading. It's super cool. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, Aurora. And yeah, have a great afternoon. Glad you stopped by. Now I think about it, I've read quite a bit of the story. We've been almost in for, I think, almost 2 hours now. I am going to stop it here, and I'm going to highlight the first phrase for next time. So we can, continue. Hopefully I can stream next week, so we can just keep it up as a weekly stream. Yeah, because that would be great. That would be actually great to start doing it weekly from now on. If anyone has requests on other stories, please do. I am currently having a lot of fun with the Pegasus Device series or the Rainbow Factory. Because, nostalgia, and I absolutely love those songs when they, were dropped. So, which is why I love the story so much. So yeah, who knows? We can do more of these kind of nostalgic stories on stream. Or we can do a narration of a book. Great news, by the way. I don't know if I had even mentioned it on stream last time. Oh wait, let's turn on a light. There is no light. This is discreet. Oh wait, I think my camera isn't picking my face up all that much because it's dark. So I need a light. Light! Almost. Yes! Yeah! Light! So, funny thing is, Disney is losing its copyrights on a couple of their movies. Because they are going to be royalty free. The first one being, of course, Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, Pooh Bear. And you know what is great about that? There's currently a horror movie from Winnie the Pooh. I can't wait to see it. If there's anyone who has seen it already, please let me know if it's good. Because I'm going to see it with my sister. And we have a thing that we pick out terrible or bad horror movies, or what we think that could be bad. Because it's funny. You sit in the theater laughing. We also did it with Slender Man when it came out. It's super fun to do. So now we're going to see Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I'm super excited for it, which also means that it's now free to narrate it. Yes. Same goes for next year. Peter Pan is also going to be free. Yeah, royalty free. And the same company who made Blood and Honey, the movie, is also planning on making a horror movie from Peter Pan. And I think it's fantastic because it's the best... it's a really good source to base a horror movie on. A guy that kidnaps children and brings them to Neverland, a place where people can grow old. And there are theories out there that Peter Pan would be this, what do you call it? Grim Reaper for children. And I think it would be a great idea to have that as a horror movie. Just saying. I would love that idea. So, yeah. Those can definitely be stories to narrate. Same goes for Pinocchio. I believe that one was already in royalty free. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. Also, if there's anyone who has already watched the new movie from Del Toro, I thought it was amazing. I really liked the biblically accurate angels. But besides that, I am a really big fan of his movies, especially Pan's Labyrinth, with, you know, the creature who has the eyes in his hands. I think that's very creative. It's based on a Japanese mythological creature. So that's cool. That's something I learned when I started to Google it. Yeah. But he's doing pretty well. He's also lately made a series, a horror series, Cabinet of Curiosities. Also a great series to check out. I thought it was really fun because there's just a lot of short stories. Every episode is a new story with demons, ghosts, monsters, and they're fun. My favorite episode was probably the one with the paintings, because that one stuck with me the most. But maybe that's also because I like to do art myself, so it was fun to see. It was fun to see that concept. Yeah. I should probably go back to this screen though, since there's nothing more to narrate for now. I'm going to continue next time. We've already done 20 of the 128 pages, so I think that's an absolute win. I did well. You know, it would also be fun just to start a stream in the morning and then end somewhere in the evening and just do this gigantic long story. I don't know. It just sounds fun. Probably wouldn't be able to do it because food and water. But yeah. Thank you all for coming to the stream. I'm going to end it. I'm really glad that you all came. It was super duper fun. Again, go and check out Aurora, the writer of today's story. She's amazing. If you like the story, go buy her book. Go support her. You can get it on paperback now. So yeah. Links are in the description. And yeah. I guess I will see you guys in the next one.